You guys have seen the title, you know what you're in store for, but a little backstory. A friend of mine and I had a bet, a weight loss bet, and I lost. So I owed him this pouch. And because I am an incredibly skilled leather craftsman, I got the pouch done and in his hands in 16 months. And hey, if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit the notification button, and subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you next time. As usual, I'll have the pattern for this project on my website. Check the links in the description down below. It'll also be released on my Patreon this month and this month only. That's how my Patreon works. This video is once again sponsored by LONSDALE Leather. They're doing amazing work. Check out their website with the link down below. One of the best websites and an amazing store if you ever get to actually visit it. So we kind of glossed over the beginning of the process here. Cut out your main body and front of the pouch, your gusset, your buckle end and strap end, and that's all the pieces. I lost the whole etching process of this video, but before you panic and are like, well, how do I get to this point? I've got a whole etching video that I'm going to link right here in the corner for you guys. It's a pretty popular video of mine, and it can be a lot of fun. Now, I know that's not for everybody, so a lot of you guys are going to take this and do a leather carving front flap for this pouch, which will be amazing, and it will be something that I haven't done. So it'll be unique to you guys because I did the brass work here. Now you can use that metal punch I was using, or you can just drill through it like this. Always be careful when drilling. Make sure you don't get it spinning into your hand. Maybe clamp it down, which I didn't do, obviously. So we're punching all these holes, and then we're going to use a jeweler's saw to cut out all these individual pieces and some beeswax. I think my brass here was a little thicker than it needs to be, but that's okay. Just added a little time to the cutting process. Hey, if you've ever found this channel informative and you want to help it out even more, we now have memberships. They're very small little ways of helping out. You get some emojis for replying under the videos and the discussion, and I'm able to communicate directly with members and even see which members have been asking questions and posts so that I can answer them right away. I'm getting a lot of requests for information lately, and sometimes I can't get to all of them, but this is one way to make sure that all your questions are answered. So give that a look if you're interested. Thanks a lot. Well, that was a lot of cutting. Obviously, I'm not going to show you all the cutting because you will be here for many, many hours. So my plan here is to clean it up. I'm going to sand up the top, and then I'm going to use a patina to darken the brass and hopefully get into all those etching marks and make it pop a little more. Part of the sanding process on top is to kind of sand those edges. I'm not going to go in and file everything. I'd lose my mind. So we're just going to sand it all the way with the Scotch-Brite pad and then punch these holes to rivet in later. Now we're going to get over to that patina part I was talking about. Now this actually didn't turn out as I had hoped. So you'll see the process, but I was really hoping that all those little etched marks would get really, really dark, and then I'd sand up the top and it would really pop. But that didn't really happen. It did a little bit, but not as much as I had hoped. So because I work in film, I did the first thing that came to mind, and I kind of Sharpied all those lines and then sanded it again, and it turned out great. You'll see the end result shortly. I probably could have used something less Sharpie-like, if you know what I'm saying. Maybe some acrylic paint, but this turned out nice, so I'm not that worried about it. I'm sure there's a bunch of people in the comments right now ready to go, he did what with the Sharpie? Is that a thing? Yep. It's a thing. I left this one hole open because I wasn't sure how I was going to close this pouch yet. I decided on a tongue, and so in the final pattern, that tongue will just be attached as part of the flap of the pouch. The only gusset material I had was heavier than I wanted, so I used my bell skiver to skive it down. This is going to probably end up being a 3-ounce leather for you guys. I think this was 4.5. It was soft, but it was pretty thick. Because I've used my bell skiver, I can easily fold it around the edge. Now, you guys are like, oh my god, there's a sewing machine involved. No worry, calm down. It'll be hand stitchable. The gusset and all the pouch spots will have all the holes marked for hand stitching. Just remember that you're going to have to pre-fold your edge here, and then you're going to go through 2 layers on the front. This probably isn't making any sense, it's just in my head, and I don't feel like going back and re-recording. So yeah, so you would pre-punch these holes, fold it, and hand stitch through 4 layers of leather is what it is really. The folded top edge, you're going through the 2 layers of soft, then you're going through the heavier, and then you're going through the soft again on the back. It'll just hand stitch all the way around the edge, and it'll be perfectly fine. If you're wondering what kind of sewing machine this is a Juki 1541. So it goes through all sorts of stuff. It's really nice. It's a good machine. You won't have to do any trimming like this. The pattern will have a perfectly sized gusset for your project. If you're somebody out there using a sewing machine, a lot of people have issues when it comes to this specific part, where you're going to sew around the edge and everything should line up fine, but it doesn't. You get really cockeyed. Make sure you pin your left and right corners at the exact spot they're supposed to be. And that exact spot for the gusset is, if you were to lay the pouch front on top of your back, then the top 2 corners are where that gusset should be. So pin them there, and then pin the center bottom, and then pin both your sides. And when you're sewing around, don't let it bunch. You know that the gusset's in a perfect spot. You'll see me push the bunch down a couple of times in this sew around, hopefully. Yeah, like right there, I did it a little bit. Right there, right there. So I'm making sure that my foot isn't slowly pushing the gusset up the side of the pouch so it's all cockeyed on the other side. Because that gusset material is usually fairly stretchy, so you have to make sure that it is being adjusted all the time. Now when you're hand stitching this, it should be no problem. All the holes are already pre-done. But always make sure you're thinking about how that gusset is getting forced around the edge. Now it is time to do the tongue and buckle. I've left it to the near end because I wasn't sure what I was going to do, like I said before, which is fine. This buckle I got from Armor and Castings ages ago. It's a cool buckle, but I don't know, it's not a review. The buckle's fine. Looks cool. I thought I would just put it on here. I think it was on some armor of mine before. I've decided to stitch this buckle strap inside the back of the pouch. It'll conceal it nicely. It'll look all finished, lovely. That doesn't make any sense. It'll look all nicely finished. Before you forget, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification button. And until next time, keep on being creative in whatever it is you do.